Inshallah, what I plan to do is I'll post these slides maybe on these lectures. Inshallah, I'll post them on YouTube if anybody would like to, have a look back at a certain point. And this is not, an invitation for you to miss classes because they are already recorded, but inshallah, it will be beneficial to have a recording. طيب. So let me first start by mentioning that I plan to have both sections in one room. Okay, and the reason for that is some of you, for one reason or the other, would like to attend, for example, in a different time. Instead of sending me requests, so can I do this, so can I do that, I'll just have all of you in one room, and then whenever I start section, for example, 2 at 11, I will say ICS 254 section 2, and if I start the one at section 1 with section at 12:30, I'll do the same. This way, you don't have, and if you attend in any one of them, خلاص, you will be recorded as present. Okay, it's kind of flexible, and I know that you like flexibility. And I didn't like it before for one reason. I had big problems for attendance, but alhamdulillah, I was able to write a small macro in Excel that takes care of that. Inshallah, things are good. Fine. So anything before I share the syllabus with you and we start going over the syllabus, inshallah? Okay. Right. So let me share the syllabus. Where is the syllabus? Can you see it?
Yes, we can.
Yes, Doctor.
Very good. Fine. So, my name is Wasf al-Khatib, and I'm in basically building 22, room 328. And this is section 1, Sunday, Tuesday from 12:30 to 1:45. Inshallah, things will improve, and we will all return to physical lecturing, and inshallah we will be seeing you in building 24, room 146. I don't know, after some weeks, let's try to be a little bit optimistic, inshallah. I know you. I don't know if some of you, like the online thing, like my son. He used to wake up and then go in front. He's in 7th grade, أول متوسط. He will sit in front of the screen. He has this gaming, what you call chair, and he'll bring the well, not pillow, but maybe something to cover himself, and he goes to sleep. I do hope that you don't do that, or you join the room and then continue playing on your PlayStation. Yeah, some of you might not like this online thing. to me, and I liked it, but also I don't like it because I don't see, the interaction, and I would like to see all of you, and all of us being on the same page, but regretfully, we cannot do that. But inshallah, I hope that inshallah we'll go back to physical attendance بإذن الله. طيب. So my office hours are right after this class, Sunday, Tuesday, from 1:45 to 2:30 to 2:30 p.m. And but I will request that you forgive me from the office hour today because I haven't been able to pray Dhuhr between the two classes. Maybe I will start a little bit late. Maybe I will start at 2. Today I'll be inshallah available at 2. Also, there's another one, Monday, Wednesday from 9 to 10 a.m. And this is, by the way, after my ICS 104 class. So you can always join during that time or by appointment. Now, I really prefer that the communication between us stays with email. I know some of you with Microsoft Teams starting sending chats in strange, times of the day and the night, but I'd like to restrict offline or outside office hours contact to email. However, during the office hours, feel free to use Microsoft Teams. Okay, feel free to call me حتى on Microsoft Teams during the office hours. Okay, so you can call me in office hours on MS Teams. You can send a chat, and you can use the app. You know how to use the app, and then you put my ID just in case I wasn't aware. It will maybe send a beep to me. But please, do not try to contact me, outside office hours because I might not, reply. I might not reply. So this is regarding the office hours. Before I used to hold open a specific room for office hours. But then I found that maybe this is not good or feasible, especially if you have, if you're teaching 2 different courses. Then I need to put everybody in one, room and called office hour and stuff like that. So instead of doing so, I'm basically available on Teams. You can always, call me on Teams directly, and you can call me, through even video and audio. If there are more than one person, maybe I can open a room. Okay, but we'll see about that. How to manage the office hours. Until now, I haven't figured that out in a satisfactory way. So inshallah we will. But mainly right now, call or chat, and inshallah we will go from there. Right. Any question around it? So regarding the course catalog description, basically this is kind of old. However, number theory, we're going to talk about number theory, modular arithmetic, integer representation, Fermat's little theorem, Chinese remainder theorem, RSA, proof techniques. Well, you have already done proof techniques in ICS 253. We will practically actually apply proof techniques in ICS 254. Methods of proofs, applications from number theory, recursive definitions, algorithm correctness. Well, we're not going to talk about algorithm correctness here in ICS 254. This is done in ICS 353 and to some extent in ICS 202. Anybody has not taken ICS 202 so far?
202, Doctor?
Yes.
I'm taking
Some
it
of
now.
us currently taking it.
Some of you are currently taking it.
Yes.
Any one of you did not take it or is not currently taking it? Raise his hand. If somebody did not take it or is not currently taking it, raise his hand. Okay, very good. Right. So to some extent, as I was saying, the algorithm correctness is in 202, but even more in 353. Relations, closures and equivalence relations, partial ordering, lattices, hash diagrams, recurrence relations and generating functions. Again, we will cover that, inshallah. Automata theory, finite state machines, regular expressions, deterministic finite automatons and non-deterministic finite automatons, their equivalences, grammars and Chomsky hierarchy. We will basically touch upon that. Introduction to Turing machines, well, I'm not sure. I don't think maybe that we will cover introduction to Turing machines. Similarly, abstract algebra, we will not cover abstract algebra. That's why I'm saying the catalog description is kind of a little bit old. But I'll talk about the topics down below when we talk about the course content. Okay. But the prerequisite is ICS 253, discrete structures 1. The course objectives is basically to introduce the students to theoretical foundations of computer science in the area of discrete structures and to develop problem-solving skills of the students using a range of theoretical results. So what do we hope that you will achieve after you take this course? Well, the course learning outcomes are basically, well, after completion of this course, the student shall be able to, number one, understand relations and their graphical representation, explain basic concepts in number theory and apply them in problem solving, understand foundational knowledge of automata theory, and comprehend graphs and trees and their mathematical properties. Our textbook is the same textbook as that of ICS 253, which is Kenneth Rosen's book, Discrete Math and Its Applications. I will make available to you the electronic version or the PDF version of the book. Well, it's kind of a little bit different, but I prefer it over the hard copy because I have noticed that sometimes there is a problem in the alignment of odd numbered exercises and their solutions at the end of the book. In your hard copy, I have, which is basically, by the way, it's a copy that was developed or edited by an Indian professor. She basically took Kenneth Rosen's book and added some things here and there. But the problem is that there was this misalignment. So sometimes you look at an odd numbered exercise, you look at the solution, it looks wrong. Well, it's not wrong. It's basically the solution of maybe a different question. Okay. I haven't seen that in the electronic version or in the PDF version. So that's why I prefer that to use that. But of course, as far as the things that we will be covering, inshallah, both are fine. Right. So this is the book. There's also online resources for the book, and I have the link to those online resources. You can basically download them. Right. Now, regarding the topics, these are the topics that we will be covering. So number theory, as we said, modular arithmetic, integer representation, Fermat's little theorem, Chinese remainder theorem, RSA, and applications of number theory, which are basically these are kind of related to cryptography. And this is from chapter 4. Okay, this is from chapter 4. From chapter 9, we have relations, properties and applications of relations, representation, closure, equivalence relations, and partial ordering. Then, actually, we will go to chapters 10 and 11, where we cover graphs and trees. Okay, and finally, we will look at automata theory, which is from chapter 13. Okay. For the first topic, chapter 4 is kind of the longest. We're going to spend the longest amount of time in chapter 4, 9.5, plus minus lectures. For chapter 9, it's basically 6 lectures. For chapter 13, the automata theory, 5.5 lectures. By the way, I'll be, giving you some handouts, a small tutorial that was written by Dr. Sultan Muhammadi. Inshallah, will make this part easier for you to study. And graphs and trees, around 6.5 lectures. Now, the reason why I asked you regarding 202 is you will find some overlap between the topics of graphs and trees that you have studied or you are going to study in ICS 202 and graphs and trees here. But it's not that much, and hopefully it's not that boring. Here we are going to concentrate more on a different perspective. There it was basically, how do we employ graphs and trees in writing algorithms or developing, certain algorithms with certain features or abilities. Here we're going to look more toward the theoretical, properties of graphs and trees. It's a little bit different, but there is some kind of, overlap. Okay. طيب, any question, ya shabab, before we go to assessment? Any question before we go to assessment? Very good. طيب. So let's go to the assessment. Now, for the assessment, we're going to have approximately maybe 5 assignments, plus minus, that are worth 15%. By the way, we already have a grader assigned to ICS 254. So inshallah, expect the first assignment very soon. Okay, expect the first assignment to be very soon posted on Blackboard. Then we will have quizzes, and it will be around maybe 5 quizzes. Again, plus minus 1, most probably maybe plus 1. And the quizzes are worth basically 15, again, 15%. The quizzes will be online, and mostly I will be doing them outside class time. Okay, and there's a good reason for that. I have noticed, especially, and I have noticed this, when we went online in the beginning last year, in March, when I offered my first quiz inside class, similar to what we used to have in physical classes. Some students reported, problems, not being able to upload, whatever they have written and stuff like that. So it wasted a lot of time. I learned my lesson from, that first quiz, and I decided to make quizzes, outside the class time. The only thing is that I would like to ask you, I forgot to ask the other section, so you're kind of lucky. When would you like to have the quiz on? We're meeting Sunday and Tuesday. Would you like, first of all, the first question is, would you like to have it like on a weekday or on a weekend, a Friday or Saturday? Which is better, do you think? By the way, quizzes, we're going to have them every 2 weeks. أو يعني 2 to 3 weeks. We're going to have a quiz. ايش رايكم؟ زياد، go ahead.
دكتور عندي كذا سؤال. 253 192 كنا نسوي سكان.
ايه
هل بنسويها الآن لأنها بتاخذ وقت؟
قديش رح ياخذ وقت؟
تقريبا بعضها عشان
5
أخذ
دقايق.
الكاميرا للجوال.
طيب
خذوا وأعطيني.
طيب يعني whatever time it takes يعني I'll take it. ما في مشكلة إن شاء الله.
أوكي.
ما في مشكلة. إحنا I wish the university will acquire something which is called the grade scope. I heard in the grade scope has very nice capabilities. حتى it might have even OCR و it can do auto grading يعني حتى classes like our classes. But until now we haven't heard يعني whether we acquired an institutional license or not. But until then, I'll give you basically the time, to do the quiz, and then after that time finishes, I'll give you 5 minutes or whatever minutes in order for you to upload your solution to Blackboard.
يعني تكون كلها مرة واحدة يا دكتور ولا كل سؤال بسؤاله مثلا؟
والله هو أنا بفضل كل سؤال بسؤاله. ليش؟ If I can upload each question on its own, I can grade by question. grading عندي بصير أسهل. لكن المشكلة أنتم بصير عندكم أصعب اللي هي شغلة السكاننج والأبلودينج. ف have anybody in any other class tried uploading more than one more than once يعني كل يعني هو mostly the quizzes are 2 questions or at most 3 questions. I don't know. Anybody has any idea? Abbad.
It happened for us once, and I believe in either a midterm or a final. It was like we would have multiple papers and we would be scanning them, but it took us a lot of time because we had to scan each one of them, then group them together into a PDF. Then you have to check the order of it, and you have to organize it multiple times until you get a well-written, good-looking, well-formatted document. Then you could send it.
All right, but let me ask you this: if I would have asked you, the solution to each question might not exceed 1 page. If I would have asked you, scan this and upload it to this question, scan the second page, upload it to the second question, scan the third page, upload it to the third question, would that be easier?
It would be easier, but it will also take a lot of time.
See, time,
we have
don't worry about time. About as I told you, the format will be you'll solve, you'll do everything, and then you will put your pencils, and then you will be busy doing the scan. Okay. Does anybody use iPads or tabs that you can do that on the fly?
Some of us do, yes.
I use one picture, yes, iPad.
طيب well yeah anyway I'm not I don't want you to feel worried about the time taken to upload things because I'll give you more time, and this is the advantage of doing it outside class time. Okay, this is the advantage of doing it outside class time. We will have time to quote unquote waste on this overhead. Okay يا شباب. Let's now come to my question. Did I answer all your questions يا زياد ولا لسه في؟
اي والله يعطيك العافيه دكتور.
طيب. So which day do you prefer يا شباب? Would you prefer a weekday like Wednesday or Thursday, or do you prefer a weekend like Friday or Saturday?
Week. For me,
Shall I-
better.
in weekdays.
Shall I make you prefer weekdays?
Yes.
Yes.
Maybe
Right.
some of us prefer weekends. So if you could have a survey, doctor.
Have a survey.
Yeah.
طيب. Let
Doctor.
me see. Yes.
I think I personally prefer weekdays, but I also encourage like some more flexible. I mean, in doing this. So maybe primarily in weekdays, and if there are any conflicts and difficulties, you might have it on weekends.
تخليها مش flexible، انت تخليها عايمة انت.
I
So
think
and it's good to be flexible.
you can create a voting inside the Microsoft Teams, I think.
Yeah, this is what I'm doing now. I'm opening forums. Let's see here. So the question will be, which day do you prefer to have quizzes on? And I will add all. Forums is very nice. Okay. And I'll put here multiple answers so that if somebody has more than one preference, you can have all your preferences. And I'll keep responses anonymous so that you don't feel the heat of other students saying, why did you do this? We agreed that we will all on WhatsApp said we are going to do this or that. But so let me do save. And let me do send. Do you see anything, ya Shabab?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. I hope that I did it here. Let me see.
You inserted it, doctor, on the Microsoft Teams.
That's what I thought I did. And the team. Okay, just a second. So shall I say forms? Forms. Add an existing form. No. Create a shared form that the team can edit and see results. Okay. It seems I didn't do it. Let me do it again. So a quiz day determination. Let's save. Setting up your forms tab. Okay. Add a new choice. The question is which day, let me say days, do you prefer to have the quiz on? And I will say add all. And multiple answers required. No need for branching. Add, shall I say now add a new? Oh, no, I'm done. That's it. Do you see it, ya Shabab, now?
Yes.
Right. So shall I give you 2 minutes to fill it?
Yeah, sure.
Yalla, go ahead. How come this form does not have any responses yet?
We can edit it, not answer to the form.
I think, Doctor, you allowed it to be edited, not to be answered.
Yes, Doctor.
Somebody put question 2.
Assignment. Make it as an assignment.
Make it as an assignment.
Yes. You just made it as a tab here. You see it as a tab.
Yeah.
And we could edit everything.
Let me delete it. Let me remove this tab. And let me
في بلجن يا دكتور اسمه بولي يسوي السيرفي في نفس التيم نفسه.
والله هو البولي موجود بس انا عجبني الفورمز.
Yeah, you can make a survey in forms, but make it as an assignment.
طيب لحظة خليني add to a team ICS 254 202 وينها ICS 204 into section 1 صح؟ Okay, I think now it's gonna work. Okay, إن شاء الله now it's gonna work يا شباب. Now it's gonna work. Create a shared form that your team can edit and see results. Can edit. طيب. الهاشم قال لي assignment. كيف بدي أعمل assignment؟ Where is it؟ ولا نستخدم بولي أسهل؟
والله أتوقع بولي دكتور أفضل.
بولي؟
أي نعم.
طيب. How can I use بولي؟
تبغاني أسويها دكتور؟ أتوقع يمديني أحطه في
والله إذا واحد فيكم بيسويها
أبشر.
خلص go ahead. So let me see if I can delete the things that I have.
يقول لي يا دكتور انه ما يمدينا نضيف هذا من اعدادات التيم نفسه.
طيب لحظه شوي انا هلا كاني شفت هلا. طيب which خليني انا اسويها كليكيت اخر مره which days of the week would you like to have this. هالمره ان شاء الله راح تظبط. I apologize in absentee يعني for the other section we didn't do that. Okay, so now I will say add all. Show results automatically after voting. Keep responses anonymous. Allow multiple answers. Save. Send. هلا لازم تشوفوه يا شباب. تمام؟ Do you see it? روحوا على الشات.
Yes.
Yeah. So now you can just fill it And as I said, you fill, if you have more than one day that is suitable for you, just go ahead and fill it. And I will let you know towards the end, the results. To be fair, for the other section, I will also do it for the other section. Okay, يا شباب? I will let you know, inshallah. طيب. Okay, so let's go back now to the syllabus, to the assessment. So we talked about the assignments and quizzes. Active participation, احنا إن شاء الله we're going to have activities. We're going to do either activities inside class. What I will do is at the end of every week, I will give very light multiple choice question type assessment that I will give you. It will be open book, it will be multiple choice. It should not take more than 1 or 2 minutes to answer. But it's basically to keep you, attached to the material. And it will be part of the active participation. We'll see how we will do that, inshallah, later on. The way I'm thinking about it is I'll give you 2 or 3 attempts. Okay, so the first attempt, if you don't get 10 out of 10, you do a second attempt. If you don't get 10 out of 10, you do a third attempt. If you don't get 10 out of 10 بعد the third attempt, حرام عليك. Okay. Hopefully, inshallah, you'll get all the marks.
دكتور
نعم.
الassignments والquizzes would it be handwritten?
إن شاء الله. مش أحسن?
Yes, it's better, but it's hard for you to grade and for the grader.
Yes. So inshallah, it will be handwritten. The project, we're going to have an interesting project, inshallah, which basically is like 2 parts. The first part is I'll ask you to implement an decryption technique that we did not cover. Okay, something which is interesting and not that difficult to learn, but I would like you to learn on your own and to implement it. This is the first part. The second part is I will give you an encrypted message and I'll ask you to decrypt it. Okay, I will tell you some information about the encryption so that it will help you in decryption. Of course, I cannot keep it open, otherwise it will be very difficult. You will hate me. I don't want to do that. I will give you some information about the encryption technique. So you need to employ certain heuristics, certain things in order to be able to decrypt. Okay. What I promise you is, inshallah, it will be an interesting project. And by the way, I used to call it programming assignment, but now since I'm putting 10% on it, I want to give it more weight, more weight. So that's why I'm calling it project, but it's not like a project that will take days and days and days.
So, Doctor, you said it was called. It used to be called programming assignment.
Yes.
So we should use programming to solve the decoding.
Yes, of course.
So we use a computer and
of course
with the program.
Of course. Yes. And it will be in pairs, inshallah. It will be done in pairs. Okay. Right. Regarding the midterm and the final, They will be, as you all know, they will be physical. So so basically, يعني, it will. We don't have until now any information about when can we hold the midterm. حتى did you notice إنه the final exams are not also announced, the final exam dates? Did you notice that, يا شباب?
Yes.
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 Even the final exams are not announced. That's why I'm deferring, you know, determining the midterm. As I told the other section, my preference was to have two majors, okay? To have two majors and a final. But because of this, you know, online thing and the input that the university got from you, that you had too many, you know, tests and exams last semester and the semester before, and the end of the semester before, I will basically go with one midterm and one final exam, the ones that are going to be physically on paper. But I cannot tell exact date and times because this will happen maybe somewhere between week 7 and 9. Yani midterm is going to be between week 7, 8, and 9. So inshallah we will agree on the midterm after, you know, after we get to know how things are going to go. But to tell you the truth, right now I don't know, I'm not sure. Okay? طيب. As far as the attendance is concerned, regular attendance is a universal requirement. In fact, I will put this, inshallah, I need to update this section because this section was for the offline, was for the physical when we had physical attendance. But basically, you have up to 3 minutes, you know, to be late. I will not consider you as late. But after 3 minutes, you're considered late. And after 7 minutes, if you join after 7 minutes, not 7, 17 minutes. After 17 minutes, I'll consider you as absent. Okay. I hope that you try to be on time. And if you face internet connection problems, let me know. Okay. If you face internet connection, and it will be evident from the attendance. When I see you, you know, logging on and off, joining and leaving, joining and leaving, it will be obvious. So if you encounter this, let me know so that, for example, I will not consider you late on that day. No makeup of homework assignments, quizzes, or exams will be given. For quizzes, usually what I do is I ask you before you see the questions. If you would like, you can multiply it by 2. Otherwise, I will take the average. But no makeup. No late assignments. Some of you already know my style. I usually give until midnight. The due date is midnight, but I give also 6 hours after that. Okay, 6 hours to submit. So now submissions during those 6 hours will be marked as late, but it will not. You will not lose any marks because of that. Okay, you will not lose any marks because of that. Another thing that I do is I allow for 3 or 4 attempts. Okay, just in case, for example, for some reason you started late. And you're afraid you will not be able to submit, the submission will go through. So you can basically scan and make the first attempt. And then if you still have time, you can continue solving, scan, submit a second time, submit a third time, submit a fourth time. in any case, the last submission will be graded. Okay, the last submission only will be graded. But because of these two things that I give you, no email submissions will be accepted whatsoever. Okay, no email submissions will be accepted whatsoever. It's a give and take. Okay, it's a give and take, and it will be easier for me, easier for the grader, easier for everybody to do it this way. طيب يا شباب. This is regarding late assignments. Regrading policy, if you have any complaint, you can discuss it with me no later than 3 days after distributing the homework, the quiz or the midterm. For the for the homework assignments, you can directly I don't know what happened. You can directly contact the grader. Okay, you can directly contact the grader. If you have disagreement with the grader, you can always come back to me. Office hours, students are encouraged to use the office hours to clarify any part of the material that is not clear. Academic honesty, students are expected to abide by all university regulations on academic honesty. Although collaboration and sharing knowledge are highly encouraged, copying others' work without proper citation, either in part or full, is considered plagiarism. Whenever in doubt, review university guidelines or consult an instructor. Please, your homeworks should be done by you. Your quizzes should be done by you. You can discuss, homework problems with each other. But when it comes to writing down the solution, you should write individually. Okay, everyone writes his own solution on his own. Finally, students are expected to be courteous toward the instructor and their classmates. I do not consider, those of you who took with me know that. No question is a trivial question. No question is a silly question or a stupid question. If you have anything in mind related to understanding certain topics, ask. Okay. If I see it is more suitable, to be answered outside class, I will make that call. Don't make that call. Okay. I will make that call. But if you have any problem in understanding anything, please raise your hand or speak to the mic, and inshallah I will respond. This is from the old days. Talking while someone else is speaking will not be tolerated. And I need to change this. And social use of cell phones. Now you can use anything now. You can get away with anything during class. But anyways, I'll fix those last two. But maybe this is also part of a good omen. تفاؤل. Inshallah, we will get back physically. بإذن الله sometime in the middle of the semester inshallah. طيب, any question يا شباب on the syllabus before we turn on to our first class?
I have a question, Doctor.
تفضل.
What about the makeup classes and if I want to change my section?
Now, as I said, Hannah, what I'm planning to do is I'm planning to have one team containing both sections. And so if you would like to attend in the other section, feel free. Okay, there is no restriction on that. Of course, unless another instructor comes, this is something different. Okay, but as far as I know, inshallah, I'll be teaching those two sections until the end of the semester. There is no problem, inshallah.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Anything else? Right. So let me then now try to move on to the iPad. Let me see. 4. Section 1. Here's the section 1. It's very strange الصراحة. Being section 1 is the second class. Okay, let me see if you can see if I can share. Okay. Tell me يا شباب, can you see the slides? عليكم السلام ورحمة الله, حياك الله, تفضل. Can you see the slides?
I only see a menu with Word, Teams, and PowerPoint.
It's like the task manager, I think.
Maybe it's taking its time, يعني?
Maybe delay.
Yeah, I think it's slow. Right now, I can see it.
We can see it. Maybe it's slow.
Okay. Right. Okay, very good. So, oops. Right, I'll erase it later. So, inshallah, the reading assignment is from chapter 4, sections 1 to 6. Okay. By the way, this is today the second time that I'm doing this. You know, I'm seeing you from the laptop, and I'm sharing the screen from the iPad, so that I can write nicely here. Right. So these are the topics of chapter 4. Section 1 will first look at divisibility and modular arithmetic. In section 2, we will look at integer representations and algorithms. In section 3, primes and greatest common divisors. Section 4, solving congruences. Section 5, applications of congruences. And finally, we will talk about cryptography in section 6. Right. So number theory and cryptography. What is number theory? What is cryptography? Well, in kind of general terms, number theory is the part of mathematics devoted to the study of the set of integers and their properties. The set of integers and their properties. Cryptography is the subject of transforming information so that it cannot be easily recovered without special knowledge. Okay, without special knowledge. So these are kind of the two pillars that basically hinge on this chapter. Although the last topic, cryptography, is kind of, I mean, the last section in this whole chapter, but because it's also related to the project, I think it's very important, especially, I mean, these days with all these security threats and privacy and what have you. So let's start with our first section, section 4.1. Now, before starting with section 4.1, let me do another survey very quickly by asking you the following question. Well, anybody knows what is the definition of a prime number?
Definition of what, Doctor?
A prime number.
A prime number, the number that does not divide on itself and one only.
So it's the number that only divides
by itself and one.
By itself and one without remainder, صح?
Without remainder, yeah.
Without remainder. طيب. So what I would like you to do now, if you go to the forms, I have uploaded now a new form asking the following question. I would like you within, less than 30 seconds. Can you determine whether 323 is a prime number or not? يلا شباب, I'll give you 30 seconds.
I'm sorry, Dr. Would you kindly repeat the question?
The question is on the chat. Is 323 a prime number? By the way, do you see the results live, or you don't see the results?
Yes, we can see.
Yes, we see.
I need to fix this. Now everybody is tilted because the yes is much more than the no, huh? طيب, those who say yes, can they tell me why? Why is
23 is not because 23 is a prime.
Because 23 is the prime, huh? So
Yeah.
So most of you think that 323 is a prime number. طيب, those who say no, we have 3, now they're grown to 4, who say no. Can any one of them tell us why 323 is not a prime number?
Because it divides 17 and 19.
Yeah, exactly.
It divides 17 and 19. See, although it looks like a prime number, it looks like and it kind of, tricked 20 of you, so that, this looks like a prime number, but actually it's not a prime number. It's a multiplication of 2 prime numbers. That's why it looks, prime. That's why it looks prime. In fact, we are going to spend much of our time, with this prime numbers, and we will see, the relation of prime numbers to cryptography and public key cryptography. Okay. Later on, we will see, for example, why is it, hard to decrypt something, although you might know the key. This is basically the idea behind public key cryptography. But anyways, so let's then go back to our, our slide, and let's define what we mean by what do we mean when we say that a number A, which is non-zero, divides B. Okay, so if A and B are integers with A not equal to 0, we say that A divides B if there is an integer C such that B is equal to A times C. Now, I used to know how to start the marker, but then, okay. So basically, A divides B if there's an integer C such that B is equal to AC. Okay. Equivalently, A divides B if B over A is an integer. A divides B if B over A is an integer. So in this case, we say A is a factor or a divisor of B. We say that A is a factor or a divisor of B. We also say that B is a multiple of A. Okay? We also say that B is a multiple of A. We also say that A divides B. And this reads as divides. Okay? So A divides B. Okay? Right. Now, when we say B over A is an integer, then what does that mean? This means that I can write B over A as an integer I, صح? In other words, B is equal to I times A. B is equal to an integer multiplied by A, right? In fact, if I want to do it in terms of the C here, B over A is equal to C, huh? Let me make it C. C times, okay, C times A. Well, in fact, I think I can erase. Okay. C times. Right. How do I know if A, or how do I denote A does not divide B? Well, A does not divide B, I just put, a small slash. So this is divides. If I just do this, it becomes does not divide. Okay? So when A does not divide B, it is denoted by A does not divide B. A does not divide B. Any questions so far? Right. Okay, still. So now, does 17 divide 68? How can I answer this question?
Yes, it does.
How do you suggest that I can answer this question?
17 divides 86.
Yeah.
If it's verbally.
So basically, 68, مش 86, 68. I divided by 17, huh?
Yes.
So, and one of you, Mustafa, he says by 4. So 6 divided by 1, well, 6, 5, it will be higher. So let's try 4. 4 multiplied by 7 is 28. So 8, and this is the 2. 4 times 1 is 4 plus 2 is 6. So we're done. So 68 is truly equal to 4 multiplied by 17. Right? So 17 divides 68. Right. What about 84? Well, same thing. What do? I will say 84, right? And I'll try to divide by 17. Now, if you try 5, 5 times 7 is 35, صح? This will be 5 if you say 5 here, and 85 will be greater than 84. So it's not correct, right? So this is not 5. This is what? This is 4, huh? Okay. So when I say 4, 4 times 7 is 28. And then this is 6. 14 minus 8 is 6. 7 minus 6 is 1. So now 84, does it divide 17? Well, it doesn't divide 17 because what do I have? I have a remainder here. So I can write 84 as what? See, at the top I wrote 68 is 4 times 17. طيب 84 is what? Is equal to what يا شباب?
4 multiplied by 17.
4 multiplied by 17 أيوة. plus the 16. Exactly. 4 multiplied by 17 plus 16. 4 multiplied by 17 plus 16. By the way, this is also the way we write it, صح? We write like this.
Yes.
This is the same, 4 and 16 over 17. Well, this is the same as 4 multiplied by 17. Well, 84, I mean, is 4 multiplied by 17 plus 16. 4 multiplied by 17 plus 16. Okay? Okay, Shabab, any questions so far? So far, so good?
Yes.
Right. Excellent. Okay. Right. Let n and d be positive integers. How many positive integers not exceeding n are divisible by d? How many positive integers not exceeding n are divisible by d? Now, instead of counting how many, now I would like to ask you, can you list the positive integers not exceeding n that are divisible by d?
Two at least, which are same as the prime numbers, n itself and 1.
لحظة شوي. You didn't get me.
Hmm.
Again, let n and d be positive integers. How many positive integers not exceeding n are divisible by d? Are divisible by d. My question now is, before we try to find that number, my question is, can we list all the positive integers not exceeding n that are divisible by d? That are divisible by d. Yani, what are the numbers that are divisible by d which do not exceed n? Can you list 2 or 3 of them? No, can you list 2 or كيف infinity? N is if n was 32, there are infinite number of integers, positive integers that are divisible by 3.
Okay.
Did you get it?
N over D.
N over D. Again, see, you're asking this question, and my question, I changed my question. I asked you, what are the numbers that are divisible, the positive integers, not exceeding n and are divisible by d? What are these numbers? How do they look like?
I think.
أيوة. I think كمل.
Oh, I think it is since the least positive integer is 1. So if I put, for example, that n is 1 and d is 1, so it is just 1 because 1 is divisible by 1.
No. Let's take an example. Let's take an example. Let's take. Let's do it on the side. Okay. So assume that n was equal to 39, or d is equal to 5. Now, what are the integers not exceeding n, not exceeding 39, positive integers not exceeding 39, that are divisible by 5?
5.
بس?
Five.
5.
Divisible by 5, not exceeding 39, divisible by 5.
5, 10, 15, etc.
5, 10, 15 صح؟ 5, 10, 15, 20. طيب هدول ايش هم ال 5, 10, 15؟ Isn't it?
Okay, the multiplication of the dividend.
5 times صح؟ مش هدول هم نفسهم؟
Yes.
Right? Until I reach what? 5. What's the last one? 5 times what?
7.
7 صح؟ لأنه 5 times 8 is 40. 40 is greater than 39.
Yes.
So now, can you answer this question? Our original question. How many positive integers not exceeding n are divisible by d? So the integers
n
divisible
over d
by d are اللي هو 1d 2d صح until id where id is less than or equal to n صح. Now
Yes.
it is obvious, as one of you mentioned, that I, by the way, how many numbers do I have here?
n over d
لا
minus
لا لا بس how many in
I
terms
numbers,
of
I numbers.
I numbers صح؟ لأنه 1 2 3 up to I we have I
1 up
numbers.
to I.
Yeah, 1 up to I, so we have I numbers صح? Now what is the value of I? So, somebody said n over d صح؟
n over d minus the remainder.
It's the floor.
أيوه it's the floor. It's the floor of n over d صح؟ لأنه d might not necessarily be divisible by n. Okay, might not be necessarily divisible by n. So basically the number of integers not exceeding n that are divisible by d is the floor of n over d. Is the floor of n over d. Right. So let's take this theorem, and معلش I'll keep you because we did a lot of you know surveys in this section. We need to prove one of them, but let me first mention the theorem. So I'll keep you a couple of minutes. So let A, B, and C be integers where A is not equal to 0. Okay? Where A is not equal to 0. Now, if A divides B and A divides C, then A divides B plus C. This is the first rule, or the first fact that we need to prove, or result. The second result that we need to prove, if A divides B, then A divides BC for all integers C. The third one is, if A divides B and B divides C, then A divides C. Now, I would like to ask you, first of all, which one do you think is hardest, to prove so that we can prove it in class? I will leave the other two to you. Which one do you think is the hardest? Number 1, number 2, or number 3?
Number 2.
Number 2, I think, yes. Number 2.
Number 2.
Number 1.
Number 1. طيب. In the other class, in the other section, I proved number 1. So let's prove number 2 here. ايش رايكم؟ inshallah I will post both. Okay? I will post both I'll post both sets of slides. Okay? So let's prove number 2. So number 2 says if A divides B, then A divides BC for all integers C. Fine. Now, A divides B. So this is number 2. A divides B. What does that imply? If you know that A divides B, by the way, the method of proof that we are going to use is what?
Direct.
Direct, صح? This is the first thing that we think of. We don't first think of a contradiction, صح? The first thing we think is, let's try a direct proof. So A divides B. What does that mean, A divides B?
A over B is the integer.
A over B is the integer, or there exists an integer, let's say I, such that B is equal to I multiplied by A. صح ولا لا؟
Yeah.
Okay, Shabab? All of you agree with this?
Yes.
Right. What do I need to show?
You need to show that BC divided by A is also
To show that A divides BC, صح?
Yes.
For any integer C. For any integer C. To show that A divides BC. What does it mean A divides BC for any integer C? ترى just like the top. A divides BC ايش معناتها؟
Yeah, B times C equals I times A.
Exactly. A divides BC implies BC is equal to, well, we used I, so let's use J here. صح?
Yes.
Because J is another integer, right?
Yeah. So it's not
BC
the
equals
exact
J.
equivalent.
Exactly. J times A, where J is an integer. Okay, this is what we need to show. طيب, can anybody tell me what is that integer J?
I multiplied by C.
I multiplied by C. Huh? Why? Well, let's call this equation 1. From 1, B equals I times A is equivalent to C times B equals C times I times A. صح ولا لا يا شباب؟
Yes.
So therefore, طيب قبل therefore, since C times I, is it an integer?
Yes.
Why?
Because it's integer multiplied by integer.
Because it's an integer multiplied by an integer, right? Since C times I is an integer, the result, okay, the result, I'll fix it, okay, and this is basically the end of it. واضح يا شباب؟ معلش I kept you يعني for a couple of minutes more, but hopefully يعني so that we become يعني in sync with the other section إن شاء الله. Any question يا شباب before we break?
دكتور,
Yes.
do you have office hour today?
أنا I have, بس أعطيني 15 minutes بس ألحق أصلي الظهر لأني لسه ما صليت.
مو مشكلة. أوكي.
كان عندي كلاس قبل هذا الكلاس.
تمام, الله يعطيك.
أوكي, الله يعافيك. Anything else يا شباب؟
شكرا لك يا دكتور.
أيام. يلا نراكم على خير بإذن الله بعد بكرة. Yes. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
دكتور.
نعم.
أشوف أنا هذا يعني بداية الكورس يحتاج أشياء من 253 صح؟
يعني proofs, methods of proofs لازم يعني تكون familiar, وإحنا رح ناخذ, لا تخاف يعني, المفروض إنه لحالك ترى تحل رقم واحد راح تشوفها بالسكشن الثاني, صح؟ فعلى at least يعني number 3 you should be able to do it on your own. If you can't solve it, you can actually see the proof in the book. بالبوك موجود ترى.
ايوه بس اقصد انا كونسبت يعني مبادئ وقواعد هذا شو درس.
طيب.
ايوه
whatever you need you'll go back. يعني I don't expect انك لازم ترجع تشيك على كل شيء اخذته بال 253, لا, بس whenever you need something you can go back to it. It should not be that problematic.
ايه نعم.
تمام يا محمد.
ايوه يعطيك العافيه.
الله يعافيك, نراكم على خير يا شباب. السلام عليكم ورحمه الله.